What's good, YouTube? It's your man Ronin, back with another one, and this is brought to you by AGame. It brings your vitality, strength, focus, and libido. And now that you know what this channel is sponsored by, I'm going to address this. I'm not sure what I'm going to title it, but it's going to play into what I'm talking about here. If you've been sleeping under a rock, well, I'm going to bring you up to speed. There are two opposing podcasts, not directly opposing until now, but you have individuals going back and forth. On one side, you had Abba and Preach. I like their material. I like how they bring their broad approach to things in a constructive, masculine manner. You know, you might not agree with everything they say, and that's your right. But the thing is, I like how they approach conversations and dealing with things, and they leave it to the people, to offer their opinions. It's a very open dialogue, and it's very more or less mature. Now, you have some silliness in there, which is needed, but it helps. It adds levity to the conversations out here. Then you have on the other side, Fresh and Fit. Now, I might have my personal opinions about the show. It may help in a sense, but what you've seen as of late has brought me to discuss this on the video. Now, before I get into that, you got to ask yourself, how many years have shows like The Maury Show, Jerry Springer, or even sites online where it's on the racist end, like Chimp Out, or you see World Star Hip Hop, or Media Takeout, TMZ, and abroad, hell, even mainstream news. How many years have we seen these individuals monetize our displays of mediocrity? How they capitalize on our poor appearance value? How we look, not just to the public, but to ourselves and each other. See, in many cases, we get up in the morning and we hear a whole lot of demeaning bullshit about what men aren't capable of, how men are placed in society, how we're toxic. You name it, you probably heard it. If not all of those in one sitting. However, in bringing in those two opposing podcasts at the time, number one, it shows the lack of respect for not just each other as men, but the unwillingness to exercise proper conflict resolution amongst each other as men. See, masculinity in its rawest form is never appreciated until it's needed. And it's become a sport, in a sense, for individuals to exercise stolen valor in the masculine scale, because this isn't limited just to military. When it comes to stolen valor, this is you claiming your participation in events that make you greater than you really actually are. You don't have the backing of the paperwork to support your efforts. So that's a punishable offense in capping. What Fresh was accused of, and rightfully so, was cap. He'll say one thing about you're not supposed to pay these hoes, but for some reason he has an account basically being a goofy sugar daddy. Now, I don't have anything against him personally. His personal stances and guys prioritizing punani politics is an issue. Is it slightly entertaining? Sure. But trying to seek rented validation in front of a lot of clout chasing wenches. A lot of chicks who are out there doing the most for attention, and again, much to their detriment. That raises an eyebrow there. There are brothers on this platform and abroad, and I'll use Chris Fenoy, for example, shout out to him, who mentioned on one of his streams, you got guys who laughed at him or even made him feel some kind of way because he promoted things about sexual health, using condoms, things of that nature. By getting tested or so on. I'm paraphrasing. Apply this to this situation to where you got guys who are so enamored by tender dick culture that they feel they validated by the presence of a lot of edgeless oracles, a lot of hard-footed harlots, the illusion of wealth, mobility, and leisure, which leads to both of those guys insulting not just Abba on his appearance and whatnot, but more or less offending Preach, which they attacked his appearance with both Abba and Preach. Definitely someone fucked up attacking his family. Now, the thing is, when you're doing things like that, that lets me know, number one, how far you are in spiritual bankruptcy you are within yourself. Because you have individuals who value the external, which highlights what they're lacking in the internal. Now, I don't know Preach, but I do know the look that he gave in response to those insults. Well, most of them are weak, but the ad hominem attacks, I know that look. Many a man has given that look. And here's why I'm making this a priority. See, if a man's about his business, he's not pocket watching. He knows who he is. He knows where he stands. He knows what he's about. And he knows how he carries himself. Had him system, order, and structure. How he does is how he maintains. And you goofies, old fat and feisty, and that's just me being an asshole saying it. You attack that man's spiritual value, what he stands for, who he is, which puts your health in jeopardy. Because when I saw that look, I said, you have no idea what you little keyboard crips, you broadband bloods, and you terabyte thugs often do online promoting this keyboard courage, this cyberspace buffoonery. Then you attack this man's family. See, these tend to tie into each other. They all do, but these especially. Because if he's enjoying his family and you're insulting them, now you put that man in a position to protect his place in that house. He doesn't want to revert his home into a house. It's a whole different environment, which will no doubt, affect his health, affect his spirituality, affect his dwelling and his appearance. Now, when it comes to you little cyberspace goofies, you little keyboard cowboys, this is where you get it messed up. You believe putting this illusion of wealth externally makes you bigger and better than the next man. See, if you are spiritually rooted, I find value not just in myself, but my peers. That's why you see a lot of us brothers talking about, hey man, go get your money. Run your race. Find your lane and stay in it. We don't worry about what the next man is doing. We worry about what we got going on. If they're solid, cool. If they aren't, we're supposed to make do and like, you know what? Hey, what can I do to get my brother on point? Or we just keep our distance. Now, the illusion of leisure, that's what a lot of you guys get fucked up at. All you Jonathans, where you monetize failure. We out there using rented validation. Find these little musty foot hoes. All these chicks who don't respect you. And if I do recall, there's no way that I might have some little feral hyena put her paws on me, knowing my backhand is set on automatic. I'll admit, in public, the 2 times it did happen, it didn't end well. In the 8th grade, I had a chick in there thinking she could talk to me in any kind of way. And I don't mind a little back and forth, whatever. But when you put your hands on me, it's a whole different issue. When she sat there and thought she could slap me, we were walking down the path. I pushed her down the hill. She landed some sticker bush and I kept it pushing. Another one thought she could sit there and swing on a dude. Now, unless you believe your ovaries are hairy and they dangle, or you thought you was on one when you took that little strap on and tried to shave the hairs on it and thought you was one of the guys, do understand we're not built the same. We're different, respectively. And if there's anything that a man does not like, is being put in a situation where he has to defend himself nor his honor. Which leads me back to you goofies out here fat and feisty. The illusion of mobility. See, just because you are being Jonathans and, being outright hypocrites and trying to buy your way into respectability, which a lot of these goofies online live vicariously through you, what you have done has limited your mobility. Because now that you call someone out talking about putting hands and someone has accepted your challenge, I agree with what Abba said. If you don't show up, shut the fuck up. You have nothing to say. Your credibility as a man is shot. Because you accepted your passport to be an outright public and private bitch. Now, I have no idea what Preach is capable of. But in seeing his face and knowing, what that look is, God help him. Because you basically insulted that man's country, his family, and what he stands for. Unfortunately, and this is besides, these two sets of men, we have made it a sport in this society to denigrate black men. Not just the image, but who he is, what he can be, and what he's contributed into society. See, when it comes down to masculinity, this is often the subject, one among the many subjects we don't talk about. See, in growing up in this space since late 2007, originally the OGs helped create this space to where we started addressing the issues that pertain to us mainly, because they often get ignored, or you have people monetize our deaths and our suffering. So we're talking about things as far as like being actual men's rights activists, making sure that one man's able to fucking take care of himself, because he's over there getting beat up by the judicial system. He's getting beat up by the legal system. He's getting beat up at the house. It's not longer a home. His kids are used as human unemployment vouchers and platonic political chess pieces. And so many other vile means of literally breaking the man down from within, to where you got men out here who are out here looking at a gun on their lap or a handful of pills one a day, regardless of his financial status, being it from Martin Luther King Street to Wall Street. The most important thing is the value system of that man. And like any man that sees value in himself and what he's loved, he is outright legally bound to defend it, even to the death. See, my problem with you keyboard cowboys is the internet presents this illusion of anonymity, that no one's going to reach out and touch you. But see, here's where you fucked up. See, I'm not above reproach. There has been times where, I've doxed myself. I let people know my phone number, where I was. And all in 13 years, I haven't heard not a damn peep. Now, I might have heard something like, but someone was breathing on the phone or making these idle threats, but it didn't go any further. So what do you think is going to happen when you think it's cool to insult a man's family and his pride, which could be his homeland, what he stands for? Or whatever that man, even if it's his last and he values that, and you take pride in shitting on that. In his mind, all you've given him was a new purpose. So aside from protecting his original purpose, which is in bettering himself, improving his situation, and things around it, Now you have become his purpose. And now his purpose is to introduce you to some five-knuckle fellowship, however it comes. Now, I've heard guys talk about catch a flight, or I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. But here's the problem. When you piss a man off to a certain point, and he has to defend himself and his home and his reputation and his word, now he's going to invest what he can to ensure that he protects all of that at the low price of your goofy ass. See, one of the most feared men is a one that doesn't give a fuck. It doesn't matter if he loses. If I were a betting man, I would put on the gloves. Because if it gets on the MMA side of things, you're going to feel where that man is coming from, literally, from all over. And given whatever man's respective training, they're going to get surgical. They're going to take their time. They're going to put you on that slow cooker and bake your ass in front of the very audience that you sit there and figure that puts you on that pedestal. See, again, you goofies have been locked in this prison of perspective. You think because you get likes, views, super chats, cash apps, and whatnot, in many cases, a lot of you dudes prostitute your presence and your purpose. See, everybody doesn't mind paying a clown to entertain them. That's truly evident. Because if you got brothers out here in this space who are talking about things in a very analytical and masculine fashion, you got goofies on the other side who has these ashy dick analytics to promote their bullshit points, or to justify the fact that they're battle-hardened Jonathans who have to pay their way to be around women, who have to manipulate the atmosphere to appear that they're greater than they really are. Some of you dudes out here talking about I got game and all that stuff, some of y'all are notorious for giving yourself carpet tunnel every night and sleeping with a flaky chest. But that's just me being a dick, talking shit to you goofies. What I'm saying right here and right now is, in this day and age, sometimes what all a man has is his respect, is his value in himself. And while you got brothers out here who are homeless, who are contemplating all these threats of extinction daily, and all the things on the report card we sit there and mention, which a lot of you goofies refuse to talk about, some of y'all need to experience those consequences. And some of y'all believe like we're back in the 1920s, where we had these old handlebar mustaches like, yo, come here, sir. You know, I challenge you to a round of fisticuffs. It is not that type of way, nigga. Some of y'all don't understand the definition of on-site. It doesn't have to be locking eyes. Those are some of the sadistic ones who wait. I want you to see me coming at you. Oh, no. There's some dudes who will take their time and wait on you. Catch you slipping. I ain't gonna say how, but trust me, all that internet bravado comes with a consequence. Because if they see you first and you don't, it's been one. It's very hard to feel very sympathetic when you lead to the events that lead to that certain event. It's called choice and consequences. See, as men, I know the economy of space. I mean, as a man, a fellow man, I respect and understand the economy of space. Do I have a disagreement with certain people? Sure. I have the option to either move on about my way, respectfully disagree, or don't even tune into a channel. It's called escalation of force or de-escalation of force. You got to learn how to pick your battles. Because if you step to the wrong one, that could be literally a life or death situation. But again, you get so many people who get caught in their ego or outright hubris and thinking, I got this, I'm better than this, and you take pride in shitting on the next man. How does that make sense to give that man ammunition? I'm not just saying figuratively, ammunition to tear down your little pillar you're standing on. That's what leads you to become a dusty trophy like these bald-headed hoes out here. Except worse. See, if a man can't lead with his light correctly, he becomes a Maggle. He starts popping his wallet, using the external to compensate for the internal midget he really is. And this is what you're seeing nowadays. Not just in this instance. You're seeing it across the board. And the screwed up part is, the very people who send you super chats and monetize your bullshit are also co-conspirators. See, if I value my fellow man, I'm going to sit there and try to talk sense to him. Yo, bro, hey, look, he ain't about that life. Fuck him. But there are times like I got to respect the fact that man has to defend his honor. Hey, look, man, I'm going to make sure they don't jump in. It's called using the foresight in your discernment. See, if I respect that fellow man and some asshole is sitting there disrespecting everything he values, it'd be wrong for me to get in the way of protecting his respect, his name, and everything he's worked for. Hey, you got it. Have at it. It's my duty to sit there and protect him where he's not focused on everything else. That's what brothers do. But some of you guys have not matured to that level yet. Too many guys are worrying about what Pookie and Ray Ray is doing, which is very hypocritical, because you get on people talking about dick policing, but here you are trying to sit there and make it seem like you smashing every chick out there from here to the Congo, when a lot of you guys really ain't. Some of you guys get away with sitting there lying on your dick. You had no dick dignity. You had no dick discipline. You out here barely wearing condoms. You out here barely getting tested. But then again, this strag is doing everything else. I have seen some of you goofies in real time in a strip club eating a stripper's ass. Out here wifing these chicks who is community property, straight up. Laying up with a chick who doesn't care if her kids catch you washing your balls in the sink. In the military, and here's an example before I close about picking your battles. My biggest fear was dealing with my unit re-enlisting because of this reason. Because my lieutenant was a dumbass and he shot himself at the range on the foot. He assumed that I was laughing at him, and I've never seen somebody shot before. All I saw was a plume of blood, and I was in a state of shock. So he believed that I was making fun of him. So ever since then, he sent his little underlings to constantly harass me, make my time at my unit hell. To the point where he would send this like career private to constantly fuck with me. And he'll say some old racist shit. Talking about, we got extra bones in our calves to make us jump higher, and all some redneck goofiness. And talking about, you can go pay a visit to Viter, Texas. I'll walk you down there. They know how to treat you boys. So one night, I'm just in my barracks, doing my own thing, writing a letter or reading a book or something. And I had one of the fellow Marines come out there and like, hey, Sergeant wants to come talk to you. All right, cool. I said, where's he at? He's in his room. So I go in his room, and as soon as I get in there, they slam the door, and they got the lights out. The light clicks on, and here is this career private with his shirt off. And he's looking like, hey, come on, fight me, motherfucker. All this other shit. Now I'm thinking in my head, I'm already being accused of fraternization because I know how to talk to senior enlisted men and officers in a respectful fashion without kissing ass. Because of how I was able to communicate with them in a respectful fashion. Many of my peers in the unit thought I was getting special favors, being taken out of duties and whatnot, all because that whoever wanted to talk to me about certain things, or hell, even play basketball and then have masculine conversations. So I knew the whole thing about, I guess, the idea of pocket watching, because There are guys who don't like the fact that you move the way you move effectively, that they can't do it. So they have to create this atmosphere or this illusion that they're bigger than they really are. And then when you call them out on that, when you blow a hole in his little fucking bubble, now he starts throwing temper tantrums and try to demean you. You see how it turns all around? But in that instance, going back to the story, I told him, like, fuck you, I'm not doing this. Because I don't want to deal with the military discipline there. Because they were looking for me to fuck up in order to fucking send me a downward spiral to not only demean my rank, which I was going to be a corporal at the time anyway, but to get me in more trouble and compound that stuff. So as soon as I left the barracks, the entire platoon, for the most part, were sitting out there listening in for the conflict. And I looked at each and every one of them motherfuckers and said, fuck all y'all. Because had it been a combat situation, I would not be coming back here. That was one of my biggest fears. Now, how this correlates to what we see here on YouTube, you see too many people out here willing to pay top dollar for a Mandingo fight. Not just physical fights, but fighting for credibility, fighting for the illusion of respect, and fighting for a place in mainstream media so he can be a mainstream monkey, clapping his cymbals for cheap. So I want you guys to really have something to think about here. The OGs who left this space are out here putting in the work. A lot of those things in the report card that sit there and flash on a regular basis, they've been doing it. The original intent of this space has been compromised for a long time. And we figure it's bigger than just YouTube or whatever platform you're looking at. As men, we have to redeem the value of fellow men, step by step. We might not agree on everything, but there's ways to do this. Because if we continue with the monkey shit that's going on out here, you're making it easier to demean our appearance value. That's why they feel validated in calling us super predators. They're calling us thugs and every bit of vermin that some of these corporate entities are monetizing our dead bodies and then some. It's much bigger than the beef online. Why do you think they promote beef? Because they're fattening up all of us for the kill. One by one, splitting us up with division. They're looking to pluck each one of y'all like rotten fruit. There was a song about strange fruit, but to see the strange fruit today, they happen to send super chats. And they're just waiting for their time to get picked. So you guys let me know in the comment section. Am I right, wrong, indifferent? Who cares? Save your opinion. Put it out there. But it has to be said. Because this kind of goofiness is an everyday thing, unfortunately. It's on us as men. If we value masculinity, black male masculinity especially, we'll do our part to change this space over time. With action, intent, and consistency. Outside of that, all you're doing is supporting internet Mandingo fights. The difference is, what are you going to do when your number's called? I'm out at you guys later, man. Semper Fi.